Hello and very warm welcome at Amish Cycle 5858. I am Amish Cycle. Foreign news have been reported by American, European, Asian, African, Australian news channels and the news agencies. So please, let's go to the headlines.
Most trusted, now on Disney Plus every night. Tonight, a 1-2 blast of power the West and Northeast. California under a state of emergency tonight. Rests among the 43 million bracing for potentially catastrophic rains and life-threatening flooding. Evacuation orders already in effect in some areas tonight. Meanwhile, a winter storm on track to bring snow and icy conditions to the Northeast after Christmas. The wet and wintry threats posing a risk to millions of travelers on the move this holiday season. The surprise announcement, the Department of Justice saying it has uncovered more than 1 million new related
cautious optimism in Ukraine this Wednesday night. What President Zelensky is saying about the path to peace.
Мы боремся за це. We fight for it and we pray for it.
Ukraine's concessions, what Russia wants, and the sticking points. Is it censoring free speech or fighting disinformation? The war of words over the U.S. barring 5 Europeans. Yukon, frozen.
Below -40 was really hard.
As California marks a soggy Christmas, the storm system heading to Canada. Plus, Jeffrey Epstein's Canadian connections.
Any piece of evidence has to be confirmed.
Who's being linked to the convicted sex offender?
Global National with Donna Friesen. Reporting tonight, Sean O'Shea.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. This Christmas Eve, there's cautious hope in Ukraine. Talk of a framework that could eventually help end Russia's nearly 4-year war. President Volodymyr Zelensky is signaling his strongest willingness yet to compromise, saying Ukraine could withdraw troops and create a demilitarized zone if Russia does the same. The idea is part of a revised U.S.-backed peace plan, but major gaps with Moscow remain. Mackenzie Gray has our top story.
Through the smiles and the songs, there's only one Christmas gift these 55 Ukrainian foster families want. That the war will end, said 8-year-old Alexandra and 7-year-old Victoria, a gift that's looking possible in 2026, with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky saying a deal to end the war is close to being finalized. This is a document referred to as a framework, a foundational document on ending the war, a political document between us, America, Europe, and the Russians, Zelensky told journalists on Tuesday. There's agreement with the Trump administration that Ukraine can keep its current military size of 800,000 in peacetime, and there would be security guarantees from the EU and US similar to NATO's Article 5, which states an attack on one is an attack on all.
You are removing the threat of nuclear weapons and laying the groundwork for an era of peace with your neighbors.
Similar guarantees were given in 1994 when Ukraine gave up their nuclear weapons.
America will stand with you to support your independence, your territorial integrity, and your reforms.
But that didn't happen, leading the Russians to take Crimea and starting this war, with Ukraine likely needing to give up additional land. Zelensky wanting to halt the fighting along current battle lines and have both sides withdraw an equal amount, a massive concession, but still not good enough for Vladimir Putin, who wants the roughly 25% of the eastern Donetsk region that Russia has not captured given to them. The U.S. proposing the entire area becoming a demilitarized or free economic zone. We are saying if all regions are included, if we remain where we are, then we...
It's 5 o'clock. I'm Mark Austin. This is the News Hour. 60 minutes of news, analysis and interviews. We begin right now with the top stories this hour. The search for two men believed to be missing in rough seas off Devon after a number of people get into difficulty. Also, the King calls for kind compassion and hope in his Christmas broadcast and pays tribute to the wartime generation.
The way communities came together in the face of such great challenge carry a timeless message for us all.
Earlier, the King and Queen led members of the royal family to their Christmas church service at Sandringham. Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie were in attendance, but their father, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, was not invited. Also ahead, Pope Leo urges the faithful to reflect on the plight of Palestinians and migrants in his first Christmas homily. And why the Gruffalo creator Julia Donaldson almost pulled the plug on this year's Christmas special. Good evening. We begin tonight with breaking news from Devon, where a search is underway for two men believed missing in rough seas. People were taking part in a traditional Christmas Day swim near Exmouth when emergency crews were called shortly before 10:30 this morning. A number of the swimmers were helped to the shore at Budley Salterton Beach and checked by paramedics. The search is continuing for two men still missing. A number of Christmas and Boxing Day swims in Devon and Cornwall had been cancelled because of a yellow weather warning for wind. Sky correspondent Sadia Chowdhury is monitoring developments from the newsroom. And Sadia, just bring us up to date with what we know about this.
Well, as you say, over a number of days, the Coast Guard and the RNLI have been warning about the dangers of swimming in the sea during such bad weather conditions. And of course, a number of these Christmas Day swims had been postponed or cancelled because of the yellow weather warning that is in place across parts of the southwest of England. But some swims did go ahead, including this one at Budley Salterton Beach, as you say, and a number of people got into difficulty in the water. The emergency services were called around 10:25 this morning. Local people are reporting that the beach has been swarming with emergency services vehicles and that there were helicopters involved, the Coast Guard, the RNLI, all out there. And you can see from these pictures that we're bringing you now just how choppy that water is. These videos taken just a short while ago showing just how high some of those waves are amongst all that strong wind. But two people remain missing. The search is continuing for them. The latest police update said that they have managed to contact the next of kin of one of those men, but they are still trying to establish contact with the other. The police are...
Christmas Mass held early in Gaza. For many, this church has also been their shelter.
With constant strikes and shelling, life was not easy, and the church itself was also shelled.
Gaza's tiny Christian community is marking another year of war, hunger and destruction. A fragile ceasefire has provided some relief, but the ongoing struggles of displaced people are dampening many traditional festivities.
Our house was destroyed in the first week of the war. We used to go and see it and tried to fix a few things, but it is not fit for living in.
The Catholic Church estimates more than 1,000 Christians, about 2/3 of those in the enclave, left during the war. But those who remain are trying to capture some of the Christmas spirit.
We are holding a few activities for the children to help with their mental health.
This was no doubt a very terrifying experience or scene for one local family to wake up to. Police say they were called to a street in St Kilda East just before 3 o'clock this morning to report to that vehicle fire. When they arrived, happily there was no one inside the car, but many emergency service crews worked to extinguish the blaze. The occupants of the home had to be evacuated as a precaution and spent some time out on the street in the cold in the early hours of Christmas morning. And vision of that scene that was captured overnight does confirm that the car was bearing a decoration that said Happy Hanukkah. Now, there's no mention in the details that Victoria Police have issued so far of whether this is being treated as a religiously or politically motivated attack. They have said, however, that it's being treated as suspicious, so we'll stay in touch with them and see if more details come out later in the day. We have been able to contact a local rabbi who knows the family that was affected, and that rabbi says the car has been destroyed. Now, this, of course, comes at the tail end of nearly 2 weeks of very big questions around the level of safety that Jewish people feel in Australia, in the community at the moment, and no doubt this might stoke some of those tensions depending on what we learn of the police investigation in the coming hours and days. For now, that police investigation is continuing. Police have called for anybody who has any dashcam footage or any vision or any information to contact them on Crime Stoppers Joe.
Your headlines.
Si arresti il fragore delle armi e le parti coinvolte, sostenute dall'impegno della comunità internazionale, trovino il coraggio di dialogare in modo sincero, diretto e rispettoso.
The Pope renewing his call for an end to conflict in his first Christmas message as leader of the Catholic Church. Speaking from the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica, he prayed for peace and justice in conflict zones including Ukraine, the Middle East and parts of Africa and Asia. The pontiff also highlighting the suffering of migrants and refugees as millions around the world listened to his message. The son of a former Bangladeshi prime minister has returned home after more than 17 years in self-imposed exile, emerging as a key contender for prime minister in upcoming elections. Tariq Rahman arriving in Dhaka under tight security, welcomed by supporters. The 6-year-old is the de facto leader of the Bangladesh Nationalist Party, who was previously convicted in absentia on graft charges, but those rulings were overturned last year. Beijing has again condemned Washington's arms sales to Taiwan, accusing the U.S. of interfering in its internal affairs and pushing the region closer to conflict. The latest arms package, worth more than $11 billion, comes as the Pentagon's annual report highlights China's growing military capabilities. The report warns that those capabilities could allow Beijing to use force to pursue reunification with Taiwan. And that is the latest from CNN Newsroom.
Africa News. The news.
In the courtyard of his family home, Emmanuel Ibrahim is welcomed by family members after spending a month being held hostage by kidnappers. Ibrahim is a social studies teacher at St. Mary's School in Papiri. He described harrowing conditions with kidnappers, who he referred to as terrorists.
Actually, as I said earlier, there's more children and women than men. And most especially the children, many of them are in very bad condition. There's one of these child that lost his life over there due to the weather and even the feeding. they are not feeding well. So one fateful day like that, they just wake up and discover that the child is no longer alive. So it's among the terrorists that picked the child and went away to bury the child over there.
Ibrahim is among the 130 students and teachers who were released Sunday, the last of the group that remained in captivity after 100 were released earlier this month. Officials did not say whether a ransom, common in such abductions, had been paid. No group has claimed responsibility, but residents blamed armed gangs that target schools and travelers in kidnappings for ransom.
Actually, I'm so happy because in my expectation, I was not expecting if I would have the opportunity to celebrate the Christmas with my family. As God may have it, all of a sudden.
To get the news your way, go straight to the source.
Whether it's happening in your neighbourhood, across the country, or around the world,
Stay in the know with Australia's most trusted news source.
download the app or head to the website.
News live from Berlin. Pope Leo preaches for peace in his Christmas blessing. From the Vatican, Leo draws on the plight of Palestinians and the war in Ukraine as he marks his first Christmas as pontiff. And a historic day in Somalia. People in the capital, Mogadishu, vote in their first local elections in half a century. Also coming up, conservative businessman Nasri Asfoura is declared the winner of Honduras' presidential election, but the slow vote count is fueling claims of fraud. And a year after the fall of Assad, we'll hear from the activists fighting against the dominance of men in Syria's political life.
Let it stress you. Let it be another turning point in your life.
Like Erica said, women making up 54% of the audience. Some other inspiring stats, 80% of attendees were first-timers. All 50 states in Puerto Rico were represented, along with 25 countries worldwide. My next guest is helping Erica Kirk and Turning Point engage women ahead of 2028. Joining us is Outkick.com's host, Riley Gaines. Riley, I'm so excited to have you and to talk about this topic because you actually also gave a fiery speech and riled up that audience, and you pointed out the irony of the fact that they were applauding you simply because you were willing to say there are two genders. It's a fact, and they loved you. But Erica, boy, did she really engage those people, particularly young women. Do you believe that what you're seeing in the movement now with TPUSA will further engage young women possibly in 2028?
110%, I believe that. Look, in listening to Erica's speech, first let's go back to the memorial service. What we saw from Erica Kirk standing in front of tens of thousands who were there in person and where this video would play to millions streaming on the internet, how she forgave her husband's assassin. You have to imagine this was the hardest moment of her life. I think this was 10, 11 days after her husband had been publicly and graphically and horrifically and prematurely taken from this planet. Erica Kirk stood in front of thousands and in such a beautiful, bold manner forgave her husband's assassin. I think only through God can a grieving widow possess so much serenity and strength and comfort and show that to the world. I think especially young women saw that and they held on to that. And then to be at America Fest and to listen to her remarks, you played it in the clips that you just showed, those young women talking about the influence of Erica Kirk. Look, they highlighted what she's...
Thank you for watching Amish Shakil 5858. I am Amish Shakil. I hope you will visit again. Have a good life. Bye-bye.